It's nice to be here.
Great. So let us just start off with the easy questions. If you could just tell us a little about yourself in terms of your upbringing and education and moving back to Palestine.
First of all, I just want to make one comment. Lida told me this is going to be a fireside chat, and I expected some sort of like a fireplace, perhaps, fires, but I guess we have fire outside today. So I want to thank everyone who came on this very, very warm day, and I hope the air conditioning will help you, as it might heat up, you never know. And to talk a little bit about who I am, I was born in Ramallah in 1982. I went to the French school. I went to the States to get my undergrad education, which was very unique and different back in the early 80s, because families here, they would send their daughters to study abroad. And I think I was very lucky and very fortunate that I had that opportunity. And my family, my brother's here, my mother is here. You can tell how much support I have from my family just by them being here. A little about my upbringing. I'm one of 5 kids. I'm the second one in the family. And so I'm kind of like the middle daughter. I think I was a handful. I think I was a tomboy when I was young, and I'm sure I was a handful to my parents. I always took the adventures that they didn't want me to take, always took the risks they didn't like me to take, but now they're more calculated risk. I think I only was in a cast once in my life, so it wasn't that bad. But other than that, more about my family.
Well, I could, basically I wanted to ask, what values were you taught by your parents that you think have had the most impact in your life?
A lot of them. So many values. Yes.
Or
the top.
The ones that stick out.
I think I learned modesty, integrity, passion for education, for learning, the importance of equality among human beings, and helping others and feeling with others. I think this was something that I saw my parents, both my parents do to neighbors, to family, to friends. There was always that lending hand to whoever needed anything. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about social events, social issues, standing with someone who's sick, helping others who are less fortunate. I think this remained with me today, and I feel very good about it, actually. It gives me satisfaction to help others and give a lending hand for those who need it.
Samia, could you tell us about your first entrepreneurial experience and what lessons you learned from it?
It's interesting that entrepreneurs only succeed worldwide, around 11 to 17% of the first time. I would say I'm lucky because I'm among the 11 to 17%. Bisan Systems was our first entrepreneurial experience. Both my husband and I decided to come back to Palestine in 1988, which, when I tell the story, sounds very weird because that was during the first Intifada. A lot of people who were living here were considering leaving Palestine at that time. They felt that businesses are slowing down. There's really not much future, not much goal setting that we can achieve in such turmoil, or when occupation was at its actually best, let's say. But we were living in the States then, and I went in '82 to the university, then had a couple of jobs, administrative jobs there. And I studied industrial design. My husband studied computer software and hardware engineering. And we decided we're moving back to Palestine, we want to start something here.
And what made you, like in 1988, come back? Like why?
Okay, there's a lot that it's very interesting because we knew that eventually we were going to come back. We knew eventually we wanted to come here. And in 1988, we came for a visit. We came to visit, that's when my father-in-law passed away, and we came to be with the family at that time. We had planned the visit actually, but he passed away 1 week before our expected arrival. And so we came a week earlier to be with the family then. And it was the first Intifada, and there was a lot of unity among people in Ramallah, let's say. There was something that was very, very unique about the atmosphere then, how people really cared for each other, how people really looked out for each other. Nobody would eat a piece of bread if any of the neighbors didn't have bread. Everybody shared everything. People used to plant in their own gardens and give away to the neighbors. There were communities and committees in the neighborhoods that actually were giving lessons to kids, teaching them, tutoring them. And we felt that, we're working so hard in the States. We were both working, we both graduated, we were working then. And all we think about is, our people here, what's going on here, the Intifada, all these killings, all the wounded, everything that's going on. And we can do the same here. We can work just as hard. And at the end, there would be more satisfaction to it, because we're working there and whatever, even though we're paying taxes or whatever, we can do the same here. If you can work and actually have an impact, if you can work and actually help out your own people and be in your hometown, it just didn't make sense that we should go back. So we were here just for a vacation. We went back. Both of us went to our jobs and told our bosses that we've decided to move back. During that time, we were looking for a house to buy in the States. We were thinking we'll buy a house, invest another 5 years, then maybe when we sell it, we'll have some money and we can come back here with some money. Because all the money that we used to make when we were there, which was a lot compared to here, we used to spend just traveling and doing things. So we really didn't have any money on us. But we decided that this is it, we're going to take that decision. We stopped any attempts to buy a house or look for anything there. Just gave notices to our work, give ourselves a month for the notices. Sold things we have, packed all the books we had because everything was on books and not the internet. And packed whatever clothes we can get, and we came back. The first visit was in June, and we were back here in October.
Okay. You're currently the COO of Bisan Systems. For those of you who don't know, it's the leading software house specializing in complete financial management solutions. How did the idea come about, and why software solutions for Palestine?
Okay, back in '88 when we came here, of course, the first thing that we thought of is we wanted to find a business idea, a need.
Okay.
And there was so much. There was so much to think about. There was a lot to do, but of course it had to do with the skills that both of us had. And like I said, Marwan was a computer engineer. I had studied industrial design. I had a few jobs in administrative jobs. I worked in a design firm, but more mainly in management. And so I've learned a lot of the professional processes and stuff in management from my jobs. And so we thought that if I wanted to do something, it would have to do in product design, and Marwan would do something in software. He was working for a very, very reputable firm there that were doing financial applications for the Fortune 500 companies. So we had that somewhat experience in the financial application solutions and things like that. And so we decided that we can't open two businesses. We didn't even know if one business was going to work out. And we decided that it'll be software. And I will help as much as I can. And along the way, I learned a lot. And I even wrote the program all by myself. And so we saw a need. There were a couple of companies in Ramallah at that time. And there was one that we will never forget. His name was David Starr. He was an Israeli who had an accounting program and was selling it to the big companies, the big industries who were in Ramallah, like Silvana and Taco, the big firms that you hear about. And he sold them software for a humongous amount of money, and that never worked. It never really, they never really used it well. The implementation didn't go well. They never actually, but they had invested at least $50,000 each in that software. There were a couple of other trials from other smaller companies who had very small applications, but they also didn't last that long. They only lasted a couple of years. So we thought that accounting and not ERP systems as is known now, because ERP was not even known then. Just an accounting system just to do the books. All the companies and everybody had a big black book, and that's what they called it. It was a huge book like that, which is called the general ledger today. And that had every transaction like on 100 lines across. In order to, like if you paid 10 shekels to buy water for your offices, you would enter the 10 shekels came out of the cash, the 10 shekels went to expenses, kitchen expenses, where do they go on your financial statement, and everything where you would see them eventually in your financial. And we thought, simple program could do that. And so Marwan started, we hired a consultant who wasn't a local accountant because we had to understand the local accounting concepts and how people did accounting here. And Marwan and him worked together on that. During that time, I took on a job in a company, in a local company here, as an administrative assistant. It was funny because when I went for the interview, and he said, yes, great. And then he said, well, how much of a salary do you expect? I said, usually people want a better salary than their last one. I make $4,000 a month. Do you want to give me more than that? That was in 1988. And he said, 400 okay? I said, yeah, that's fine. I'm not really worried about the money. It's more that we needed a job to live off because like I said, we really spent all the money, had fun. And so I worked for a couple of years and as an administrative assistant. And those $400, which actually became $700 in a few months, he found out that I was worth a bit more. And we lived off them for a couple of years. We lived off them until 1990 when the system was complete and we were able to start marketing it.
And how has Bisan Systems achieved its success? I know that you've told some of the other ones closed down, they were very expensive, but what's the secret for Bisan Systems since you are still the leader and you're basically an exception in Palestine?
I think there's more than one reason. A lot of times when Marwan and I talk about it, he says it's just pure luck. And I disagree. Maybe there's some luck in the game, but I think that it's more than one reason. And we give the main reason to our ability to take on new technologies and to develop with the new technologies. Like in 1990, when the first Bisan accounting and management software, very difficult to deal with in terms of applications. There weren't many solutions around. Anyways, people didn't use computers for many things. But we came up with a very extremely user-friendly solution that anybody could use, that people who've never seen a computer, and all our clients, I would say 98% of our customers in 1990-91 never saw a computer before we installed Bisan on their system. So I guess along the way, in the mid-90s, Windows came up, and you had to change your platform from a DOS version to the Windows platform. And we knew Windows was coming up. I think that we have this vision of what's going to happen. And so we were able to work on a Windows version before it was really needed in the market. And then we went into a lot of other side businesses along the way in order to support our business. Like I remember in 1991, we had a system that worked on a network. It wasn't just on a single PC. I understand that this may be, this may be something unheard of in your age, where everything's on the internet, everything is connected. But we really didn't have two computers connected to each other then. Everybody just worked on a single PC. And so in order to run our software on a network, we had to install the network for the companies that wanted that network. We went in there, we installed the cables, we had the coaxial cables. We bought the machines to try them and test them and see if the network went down. It's not because Hadara is down, it's because one of the cables is loose. And so we got into a lot of businesses along the way, but then as soon as other companies opened up and started doing networks, we just backed out. We were a software house. That's another reason for our success. We know we are a software house. We're not trying to do everything. We don't want to do everything. We want to be, the leading software house, and that's what we are in business applications. And so, whatever other businesses we got into along the way, we didn't keep that up. At some point, we were box movers. We got PCs and we sold them because there were no good dealers in the market. So we got into that business for a while. And then, as soon as the other dealers came in and took on brand name dealership, we just moved back to developing in software. So I guess keeping up with technology is really a key issue. Customer care and customer satisfaction. Although we always found ourselves that it's not enough, we can do more, we can be better, we can be closer to our customers. But we were there for them 24/7. This is one of the slogans that we have, that our support is 24/7, 364 days a year. We're always open. We always answer the phone. We always attend to the customer. And I think that's something that we needed to do from day one, because we needed to gain the trust of the customer. A lot of them didn't trust computers. People thought it's insane that I'm going to do my accounting on a computer. Are you kidding me? Where did the numbers go? You know, they couldn't even comprehend what happens then. So it was very important to keep the customer satisfied with what he's getting and to build that trust relationship. So that's also another thing. And I think the customers were the main ones who actually did the marketing for us. This is one of our weaknesses in Bisan. We've never done any marketing. And basically all our marketing was word of mouth, which has its good and bad sides to it, which we'll probably discuss. And it would be nice to discuss a little bit more about, talking more about. But I would say technology, customer satisfaction, and top software. We follow international standards. We are the only financial management Palestinian application that's certified from the Israeli Ministry of Finance. We've had that certification since 1994. They give us hell to renew it every year. Hell, they want us out of the market because we're competing with the Israeli products around. And we're the only software who can get that accreditation. The Palestinian Authority once thought about doing that, and in 1997 they put together a committee in order to study the software applications and the accounting and financial applications that are in town. They gave us license number 1. Of course, they studied it, they looked at how accurate it is, if it's following the standards that it should follow, if it's giving the correct information. And we got license number 1, and the only license. They couldn't actually give licenses to any other company. And the year after, the whole committee just vanished. We don't know where it went. And so that's another thing. It's software that you can trust. You know that the numbers that you get at the end are true. You know, another thing is there's really no software, no application in the world without bugs. I'm sure you all know. You're in IT. There's nothing that doesn't have bugs. But we admit it and we solve it. So when the customer sees that, okay, there is a problem, but we can solve it. We don't deny it. We don't say we're the best. We don't say, no, it's bug-free. No, of course it has bugs. Please find it for us, because we've been testing and it looks good. But that's also another thing. With our integrity, our honesty with the customers. And there's also actually an issue with that we don't tell them that we're the best. We don't tell them, we know we are, but we're very modest in how we bring out Bisan. And now with Bisan Enterprise Edition, which is an online application, it's actually the first financial online application in the world. We launched the Bisan Enterprise online application in 2006. And I remember in 2000, we were following other applications around the world. And you would think that the top 2 would be SAP from Germany and Oracle. And in 2009, I remember SAP had a press release saying, we're thinking about an online application. We will launch a test version, beta version in 2010. We'll give it to a couple of customers. Hopefully we'll get some feedback in 2011. So I'm talking about 6 years here. 6 years where we were leading in online applications. And so this is probably a proof that we really were able to cope up with technology. And even you know, nisbaha at times.
Thank you. Samia, there's always been a strong potential of the ICT sector in Palestine, mainly because of the fact that it's less dependent on cross-border movement restrictions. I just want you, if possible, just briefly to describe some of the biggest challenges you have faced in your current position and how you've overcome them, of course, being a leading woman in the company.
There are a lot of challenges. I'm talking about 27 years of a small business in Palestine. A lot of challenges. I'm sure that many people talk about the times of the incursions in 2001, when the company was closed for 6 months, and we did our best to stay connected to our customers, to stay connected to the employees. A lot of the programmers used to work from home. We built connections from them there. And as a woman, there are also lots of challenges, and I think it's not just because I'm in ICT. Just as a woman in a Palestinian culture, in a male-dominant society, people just don't take you seriously. People think, really? She has anything to do with ICT? I even remember a few years back, Marwan and I went to a friend of ours who had developed a new application. He wanted to show it to us, so we went to a really official meeting at his place for him to show the application. And so there was this presentation, and then I asked something. He goes, "Oh, so you do understand ICT?" I said, "Well, thank you." So to them, I was the CEO's wife, and that's my joke. It's like people tell me, "What are you doing this?" And I'm the CEO's wife. That's what I do. But people don't take women seriously in IT particular. Maybe they will take us seriously if we were embroidering a dress or if we were cooking something, but not as much if we're in such a high-skilled environment, in a high-skilled profession. And so, and also I would say, and a lot of Bisan colleagues are here, that it took a while for even the employees themselves to take me seriously, to really realize that, okay, she can, we can listen to her, she doesn't have to tell Marwan so Marwan can tell us. We can actually listen to her. But I think this is a challenge that all women face in general. But as a company, I would say we had some financial challenges, maybe specifically during the incursion where there was really no income. I even remember a lot of companies in the private sector during that time used to pay only 50% of the salaries, and we insisted on paying 100%. We felt that we can carry that burden, but employees with families cannot do that. So that was a little tough on us financially, and we knew that this will pass and eventually we can overcome it, and it did. And I think a lot of other challenges that we faced was finding the right people. The atmosphere at Bisan is amazing. We have very dedicated people in the company. We have people who've been in Bisan for 24 years now. And to find the right personality that can blend in and believe that this is not really a hierarchical company, that I really can do something without getting a written permission or without asking. I can be innovative. I can, and finding, instilling that in people here was also a challenge, because I believe that a lot of people in Palestine look for jobs, not careers, and I think this is a problem in general. The lucky ones are the ones who have a job and something they love to do. This is the way it should be. You should be passionate about what you do, but with little opportunities for both men and women here. A lot of them just get a job to get by, and that's a problem. That even if it's the job that you studied for, even if it's the skill set that you have, look at it as your career. And I can see where this comes from. There are a lot of issues that come around it. It's not just that they're looking for a salary at the end of the month. But it's basically, what am I as a person getting out of this company? Am I just going to go do my job and go home? No, I think if it's your career, there's more to it. There's profit sharing, there's decision making, there's being involved in planning, there's your own passion, your own ideas to put it into that company. And I think we're unique in that way, and that's also a part of our success, that we were able to gather really good employees who are really dedicated to their work and to Bisan.
Thank you. We're gonna shift a little more now to women and IT. And basically there are roughly 2,500 yearly graduates that graduate from the ICT field in Palestine. Could you tell us a little about why you think this is the case, and why, what are some of the challenges they face? Why are the numbers so low?
I think actually this goes beyond the unemployment, the high unemployment rate. This talks about women. I think the issue with an ICT profession is that it's very highly skilled. It's a job that requires a lot of dedication, and a lot of times women are afraid to do that. They think that eventually they're going to get married and have kids and have a house to take care of, and having a very demanding job will actually affect all that, or will kind of delay that. So there's that problem with it, and also that the ICT jobs are in the private sector. And private sector means long hours. It doesn't mean 9 to 2 and then I go home. It means 9 to 4 to 5 sometimes. sleeping thinking about that program I wrote. And so I think that these might be factors. Another issue is that a lot of women, even after graduation, get into IT. And actually, another interesting thing about these numbers is that most of the women who study IT in universities study programming. The highest number goes to programming. And that's where the need is actually. But then they would work in a firm, they would be programmers for a couple of years. Once the kids come along, once they decide to take a break for the kids, by the time they even come back, they're already slapped behind technology, they're already behind. And so it takes double the effort to try and catch up, and it's not that easy. And so I know personally, we have a few women who worked as programmers at Bisan. Over the 27 years, we've had all kinds of different people around. And many of them took a break when they had kids, and now are just using whatever skill set they have. Administrative jobs, perhaps teaching, but not programming anymore. They're already behind the technology that came along during those couple of years.
So what do we do to fix this? So is it true, this is getting married, is there no balance to be, a good wife with children and be dedicated to your work?
No, I think I did it. I think everybody does it. I think Totah did it. I think many people did it. And no, I don't think that it's a problem. I think it's doable. But I think that women are scared to do that, or they think that. See, it's two ways. Although, as the Palestinian culture, we do have a lot of support from the family, but they might have support with the kids, raising the kids. The mother-in-law might take care of the kids. But for them, if they want to take a break, that break by itself is a problem. Another issue is maternity leave. A lot of companies don't want to even hire women. And I will tell you the story about one of the programmers who works for us today. She's not here today because she has 2 daughters to take care of. But she is amazing. She's very good, very dedicated, smart, innovative software engineer. And we interviewed her the first time. She went through the logic test. We did a test with her. She was perfect. We hired her. And so I would say maybe 3 months down the line, I get this slip. I saw this slip. I was looking at the medical expenses, and there's slip in someone else's name. So I went to the administrative assistant. I said, "Who's this?" She goes, "Oh, it's her daughter." I said, "She has a daughter?" And so I went up to her and I said, "I hope your daughter's feeling good. I heard that she was at a doctor's. I hope she's okay. But I didn't even know that you had a daughter." She goes, "Exactly. You're the only person who didn't ask me this question during the interview. You never asked me if I was married, if I had kids." I said, "Why should I ask you? This is a personal issue. This is something that has to do with you. If you're applying for a job, it means that you know that you can do the job. It doesn't, I'm not the one who judges your time, or judges how you raise your kids, or if you cook, or if you take care of your family, if you clean the house." But then she said, "But that's the reason why I couldn't find a job for the past 3 years." And I kept saying, "It's amazing, they never asked me if I'm married, because even after I go through the process, and it comes time to hire me, I ask, 'Are you married?' And I say, 'Yes, I'm married and I have a daughter.' And they say, 'Sorry, we can't hire you.'" So, and I don't blame, there's also 2 sides to that story, because I don't blame the private sector. It's very costly. Maternity leave is very costly for the private sector. I look at other models around the world and I see that the government actually participates in that. Because, for me to give a woman who just delivered a child 70 days off to be at home, and to make sure that her work is taken care of, I would need to replace her during that time, or just give her job to someone else while she's gone. And she also gets an hour for breastfeeding for the full year after that. So she's also working something like 200 hours less during the year. And it becomes really costly on the company. But we are willing to take that cost. We're willing to take that risk. But not many people can. And I don't blame them. I'm not saying they're mean. They don't want. And I always say that you would find women managers are the ones who most don't hire women workers, because they know that if the kid is sick, she's not going to come to work. They know that that's going to happen, and they know how much it takes, and they know how much it takes even from her thinking, from her energy, and not just from her presence. And so I think that one of the things that we need to do is really work on certain social incentives from the government for things like that, to promote it. Because we're always asking ourselves this question: what can we do to change this? We ask ourselves every day, because we have a problem with that. We have a problem in general in women working and actually achieving management positions or working in ICTs particularly, especially that it's one of the 5 sectors that everybody is saying is the promising sector. Everybody is saying that's where we can actually do something and actually put Palestine on the world map through our ICT and our innovation.
Just out of curiosity, how many, you have 25 employees at Bisan?
We have 35 employees.
Okay, and
30% women.
Oh, good.
Yeah, a third of them are women.
Okay.
It's not so bad. We hope it's 50-50. The men will kill me, but we have equal opportunity in employment. We never look at the person if it's a female or a male. So this is what happened. I don't have a quota. We don't have anything set that this is a ratio that stays. Whoever is good for the job gets it.
You're a founding member of the Businesswomen Forum in Palestine that was established in 2006. What's your involvement today, and what are the struggles that you see from the forum?
I'm not very involved today in the board. I was on the board for 2 years when it was founded, and I think it was really interesting, and we were really enthusiastic about what we hoped the Businesswomen Forum will do. Personally, I was really in it because I wanted to stand next to women who had the idea, who wanted to do it, who needed the confidence, who needed the mentorship, who needed the support. I wanted to be there to support them. It's me. I love to be around people and help them. And I thought that's what it's going to be like. It will be a lot of mentoring. It will be a lot of shadowing. Maybe somebody who wants to open a business would come and spend the whole day with me and see what I do. Because when you see it, it's not like it's not a theoretical job. There's a lot of practical work involved. And today I attend whatever they do. I support whatever they do. Sometimes I'm invited to the board meetings for their planning, they're putting plans for I went with them once on a workshop for 3 days to try and put the plan for the next 5 years because they had a consultant and stuff. And I'm there in a lot of the projects, but in a lot of the activities and workshops that they do, but not in the board, not in the development board.
As you know, the startup scene in Palestine is booming, so to speak, on a slow level. What do you think of the current system that's forming? Is it overhyped? Is it underhyped? Is it something to be excited about, or are we getting too ahead of ourselves?
I think it's a bit overhyped. I think, personally, I don't understand why, if I talk about IT and ICT, I don't understand why IT companies need money. Why do they need investment? All you need is a $400 computer and you can write the most amazing application in the world. And I can see that you would need money for marketing, for go-to-market. You might need money for when you're purchasing hardware, if there's a lot of hardware involved, a lot of equipment. But in terms of software applications and services, sometimes I think do really need all these investments in these. And because I see that in a lot of entrepreneurs and startups. They have this idea and they're looking for someone who will invest in their idea. Why do you need someone to invest in your idea? And it's like I ask this question and usually they don't even have an answer, but they think that's the way it goes. I have an idea, someone has to invest in it, then it becomes a startup. I see that we are looking into startups and we are exploring that because we don't have a lot of opportunities. I mean, you said 2,700 ICT graduates, but there's 30,000 total graduates every year. There's only 7,000 opportunities. So where are the rest going to go? That's why I can see that people think about having their own business. Although I think a lot of times people want to do that because it's a culture that we have. You are successful and famous if you have your own business. If you have a job somewhere in a company, you still have a lot to do. And that's a misconception. That goes back to, is it a job or is it a career? Is it my passion or is it just something that will give me food on the table at the end of the month? So I see that, okay, we need to have startups because we really have nowhere else to go. And that's maybe and also, more importantly, is we are innovative people. I have a problem with outsourcing because I don't think we're India. I don't think we are just robots who can just, code some document that was sent to them from whoever. I think we're far more innovative than this. We are innovative. We can do things. And I always say, for startups, you don't have to invent the rocket. I always give this. I think it's the number one business idea, successful business idea in the world. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but it might surprise you. I think this is the most successful business idea in the world. We have water in our faucets for free. We can get water from anywhere. We're paying for it anyways. Who thought to put water in a bottle, in a plastic bottle, and sell it? And we all buy it. And we love to drink it from this bottle. And it's exactly. And so I always say that, to have a startup, to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to invent a rocket. You can do something that others did. You just need to be unique. You need to have a niche. That's what makes Bisan different. We're unique in so many ways, in more than one way. One of them I said that we're licensed. We follow international standards. Go and look for this somewhere else in Palestine. You can't find it. You have to have a niche. You have to have distinction in what you do. And that makes you stand out somehow. So it's not so, like I said, I have mixed feelings, but I think it's overhyped. I hope people are successful. I hope people can actually move forward. I hope we can actually promote the economy and be part, and build a better economy for Palestine. I just hope so.
What would you say are the strengths or actually the weaknesses of Palestinian youth today? Whether they're getting a job or looking for something like a career. Is it the skills? Is it the talent? What do you think we're lacking?
I think it's a number of things. A lot of times I'm involved with a lot of organizations that do internships and skills building and stuff like that. And I'm on the board of one of them, and they were talking about, what skills do we need to teach? I said, you taught them how to write a CV, you taught them how to write a letter, you taught them how to type. You need to teach them the skill of belonging, of feeling that you are working, not because someone else is making money. We don't have this in our culture. This is a problem. I go back to, it's just a job for me. I just get my salary at the end of the month. But we need to develop this in our culture. Our youth are missing that. They're missing that, people are working, they're working in jobs that they love, but they're always thinking about the business that they want to open on their own. What startup should I do? A lot of times I hear this, it's like, I want to open a startup, but I need an idea. Really? Are you kidding me? You want to open a startup and you need an idea? I thought it was the other way around, but sure, interesting. And I hear this a lot. And so I think that perhaps, we need, like I always say, when you ask someone from the West or from Europe, where do you work? They proudly say where they work from. If you ask our youth today, oh, I work at the Arab Bank. Oh, yeah, I work at Caltech. It's like, it's a drag for them. So we don't have that pride in our work. And so I think one of the skills we're missing is pride in what we do. Another skill that we're missing is, I believe, and please don't take this personally because this is not a generalization, but I see that. We don't love to work. We want everything to come near us when we're sitting and taking as many breaks as we can and taking as many vacations as we can. If it's Women's Day, let's take the day off. If it's Workers' Day, let's take another day off. Oh, it's a Friday, okay, we'll do it on Sunday. And so as a culture, we're kind of lazy. We're not workaholics. And I think that's another thing that, both me and Marwan brought with us from the States. We are workaholics. We have spent a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of long hours. And there's nothing called 9 to 5 or even 8 to 4 or whatever. If I'm in the mood for work, if I know I want to do something, I'll stay up all night and do it. And in general, we don't see this. People are lazy. They want their time off. They want their day off. And this is something that I always want to tell the youth. I know I'm young. I'm only 25 twice, but still. And that you have to work hard. you really have to work hard. And not just one day. And I hear this a lot. You know, sometimes I get someone, it's like, oh my God, I worked too much today. I worked 10 hours today. It's like, okay, good for you. But then you take 2 days vacation because you worked 10 hours that day. And so you need to work 11 hours tomorrow. And that's the concept that we don't have in our culture. Another thing I think is that it comes both ways. In order for the youth to feel that they belong and to give and to be happy in their job, the companies themselves have to give back. Like a few years back, we've been talking about this for the longest time with Juan and I. We wanted to do profit sharing for the company. We wanted to share the profits with all the employees. I bet you up till now they don't believe that we do that, but we do it. But I don't know if they trust that that's what we're doing. We look at our profits every year, and we give percentages for people who've been in the company for so many. There are a lot of things involved in the formula. And so we give that. People here call it bonus, but it's different every year. It has to do with the profit that the company makes. We want them to know that it's not just our work, and it's not. It's a collective effort, and we want to give back to the people who really gave to the company. But I sometimes feel that when I tell that to any employee, it's like, is she kidding? You know, really? I mean, is this just like a way to get her in the company, to get me in the company and accept this? But we actually do that because I want everybody to feel that it's their company as much as it's mine. But you know, and it's a funny story is 1 year we didn't have good profits. We had very, very low profits. And I was like, okay, what do we do this year? I mean, everybody, do we take? And some people didn't accept the idea that it was a small amount, but it's basically profit sharing. That's what it is. So this year you just got a little amount of it. I'm so sorry. But and so I think there's a lot that needs to be changed in the culture, but we all need to work. We all need to work hard. If we really want to build an economy, if we really care, and that's why we came back here. Because we were working so hard somewhere else. We could do the same here. We could build something, and we're very proud of what we built today.
Just on that note, in terms of coming back, you see that the unemployment in Palestine is so high, and not everyone has the opportunity to leave. But obviously there are a few who can leave. What advice would you give to the entrepreneurs who actually want to leave, like say to Dubai, for example? Why should they stay?
I would say that money is not a goal. It's an outcome of your success. People who want to leave want fast money. And that's another issue with startups. People who want to start a startup want to have a startup and sell it in 2 years and make money. When money becomes your goal, there are issues there. But when money becomes an outcome of your success, then you're successful. I would say if you're willing to go to the Gulf and live in yet another diaspora for the Palestinians and be all alone without your family, which is something very hard for us Palestinians to do because we're a very close family-knit society, that why not do all that here? Is it just that you want a higher salary at that day? And you're going to pay it in Gulf. You know, whatever you're making here, you spend here. Whatever you make here, you're going to spend there just as much. I feel that a lot of people go because of the money. And I just want to tell them that it's not a goal. Money should be an outcome for your success and not your goal.
One more question. If you could be anything other than the CEO of Bisan Systems, what would it be and why?
I think this is the toughest question. Okay. Wow, okay. I think, I don't know really, because I'm thinking about my hobby. You know, I always tell people I have a hobby.
She's a doctor.
A doctor, medicine, probably, yes. Okay, my brother knows. Probably, yes, probably would have something to do, not maybe a doctor, but maybe in some sort of a medical related profession, maybe.
Actually, one more. Sorry, I just realized I wanted to ask something else. What do you think is the most exciting minute of your entrepreneurial journey? Like the highlight?
I think it was in 2008. In 2008, I read about this conference in Lebanon. It's called the MENA ICT conference. And there was going to be an application. The whole idea behind the conference that he did was how to promote Arabic content on the internet. The internet was growing, but it was all English content. And the kids were using the English letters to type Arabic, marhaba with a 7, and all these, I think it has a name, Arabizi or something like this. And so the main focus on that conference was to encourage Arabic content on the internet. And they had a competition for online applications. They had 4 categories. They had, the first category was the best online application for commerce. One was, I think, the best game, or for kids' education, and there were 2 other categories. And so I looked and I said, the best online application for commerce. We're #1 online financial application in the world, and it's in Arabic. Let's go for it. So I went in there and I went to Marwan, I said, look at this, there's a conference in Lebanon, and we can go. And he said, I don't have time, don't talk to me about this. This is traveling and going and meeting people and writing a proposal. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I didn't tell him, I said, okay, fine. So I did it. I filled in the application. Apparently there were 22 other commercial applications who had run for that certain sector, for that certain category. And a few weeks down the line, I get an invitation that we're one of the 4 companies who were selected from the 22 to come and present our application at the conference and attend the conference. And I said, really? And so I packed up and went to Beirut. And I am not a technical person. I know what's going on in terms of programming. I know the languages. If I look at code, it's another language for me that I don't understand, just as much as I understand Hebrew. But I said, we have to do this, we have to show them, because I was really impressed by the main idea of the conference, that it's important to have Arabic content. We even talk about this until today. It's really missing a lot of Arabic content. And so I went to Beirut. I attended the conference, which was amazing. It was really interesting. There were a lot of amazing people there. And then it was time for the competition, which I was the first one to attend at 8:30 in the morning. I got dressed and I had my presentation. I had as much information as I can gather from all the technical terms. I know operations, I know management, no problem there. But talk about technical things, it was like, okay, I can do this. And I was the only one. The other companies, of course, can get visas to Lebanon easily. So the Lebanese company had 12 people. The other Moroccan company had 4 people. And then I looked there and I was like there sitting on my own. And so, but there were a lot of other Palestinian companies who participated, by the way. We had the IT minister then, who was Hassoune at that time. And there was a whole delegation from us. And so I walked in the room and they started introducing the panel for me. I think there was like around 12 people. The Minister of Telecommunication from Iraq, the IT sector development from Algiers, the Intaj from Jordan, the person who was heading this conference for 5 years, and I said, and they were all older men and women, and I said, yes, hello, okay. And I started talking about the company. They said, you want to know more about the product? I said, yes, in 2 minutes, it's just 2 minutes about the company. And I talked and I explained what our application does, and I gave a presentation. I was sweating like crazy. It was like one of the most horrible experiences I had, because I knew that I was going to get to technical questions that I would have no idea what they're talking about. And so there comes the question and answer part. And I remember that the guy, I will never forget him, because he asked me the toughest questions. And he said, what CA products do you use? I said, what the hell is CA? I said, excuse me, but what do you mean by CA? And it was Computer Associates. It was the ones who had the Novell networking and all the other back office networking software. And I said, oh, okay, computer, of course, I know Computer Associates. I mean, I purchased them and I talked to them, but I didn't know what CA was. That was a new acronym for me. And I came out of that room. I think, I don't know how much sweat I had on me, but then I walked out of that room and all the other competitors were like, what did they ask you? I said, I don't know. Don't talk to me, I need coffee, I need to go lie down. And then that was like 2 days down the line. The next day, there was a huge gala dinner with the Minister of Telecom, who's I think the Minister of Energy now in Lebanon, Jubran. He's all over the place. I have pictures of him. He's always some minister. He loves the media. And Miss Lebanon was the MC at the, yeah, it was like this tall. And we sat at the gala dinner, and the Palestinian delegation all sat together, and they all came up to me. One of the competitors was Yoyaland, was it, from Jawal? It was, yeah, it was promoting for educational software for kids. And there was another one from Gaza, but it wasn't the same category as me. I was the only Palestinian in this category. And they told me definitely they're not going to pick you. You know, things in Gaza are flared up. They might probably pick the Gaza project to give some sort of political statement about Palestine, or they would pick Jawal. I mean, I'm sure Jawal picked someone here. And so I went to the Gaza. And that's what I got. No offense. No. That was 2008. Now there's more management. And so I'm just very honest. I'll take it. And so it was like, they're not going to pick you. I mean, who are you? A small company in Ramallah, so don't bother. So okay, I'm just sitting at the gala dinner, enjoying, you know, the gala. We had beautiful dancers, nice dabke, nice violinist. It was really nice and enjoying good dinner, good Lebanese dinner. And there comes, you know, our category, and they say Bisan Systems. I didn't even hear them the first time. It was like, okay, you know, oh yes, this is my category, but I'm looking at the other ones, we're sitting with others, it's like, who's it going to be? Most probably the Lebanese, who really all dressed up really nicely. And they picked Bisan Systems, and I went up on stage, and it was like, seriously, I have to say something, I didn't even prepare something. I think that was the highlight moment. I think that moment by itself, because it wasn't expected. You know, if somehow I wanted it, and I thought I was going to get it, but then was disappointed, it would have been a different feeling, but I really didn't think we were going. And Marwan was telling me over the phone, and Michelle, it's like, no, we probably won't get it. You know, it's like, we never really thought about of how important our application was, of how good it was, and they were really impressed. And the interesting part is they chose the Iraqi minister to give me and he said, I was hell to you. I know, I was very hard on you. That's why I want to give it to you. I gave you hell that day. That's why I am the one who's wanted to give you the award. And it was a plaque award and stuff like that.
Oh wow, on that note. I'd like to open up the floor for any questions. If you'd like to, please.
شكرا.
Whichever one you like. Whatever you're comfortable with.
العربي شو الهوبز تاعونك؟ وشو بتسوي غير الشغل؟ يعني انت كثير حكيت عن الشغل وحكيتي كمان بامريكا استمتعتي واجي الشغل اللي بتسويه غير الشغل. والشيء الثاني الجوائز زي هاي جائزة بيروت انت بتستثمريها في التسويق للشركة عالميا وغير فلسطينيا؟
الهوبيز تاعوني number one, medicine is a hobby for me. I read all kinds of research papers on new medical things, and I think I read more about medicine than I read about IT. I'm part of a group that we go hiking every Friday called Totah. I enjoy climbing, I enjoy hiking. Cooking is a hobby for me. I love to feed people. And reading, I read a lot. And learning I feel is a hobby. It's something that I feel that it's perhaps one of the main values that my family instilled in me, how important education is. And I don't look at education as something that we just have to do to get by. It's important. I look at myself every day, and at the end of the day I assess, what did I learn today? Did I learn something new? And these days I'm learning a lot from my daughters. So it's interesting that there's always someone to learn from. Do we use the award that we got? Yes, we do, but we're very bad at marketing ourselves. This is, I think, the worst part of Bisan is we're very bad at marketing. And I talked about how a lot of our sales came from word of mouth, which is really nice because you would believe someone who used the system way more than my marketing material or whatever sales, I will try to convince you. But sometimes people would say wrong things about you. So we need to do actually direct marketing. We need to educate people more about what we have. We use it. It's on our website. It's in our literature. Whenever we send an offer, we send anything. It's there with the literature about Bisan, about the products. The good thing is that it was the first year that they opened up to the Arab world, but then the years after that, they opened it up, and a lot of Palestinian companies participated and were awarded as well. Outside of Palestine, that's what our market is today. That's where we're going, because we have very limited market here at the end. And yes, we have sales in Africa, we have sales in Lebanon, in Algiers, we have in Jordan. And it was this award actually, I think, was really important for us because people don't trust Palestinians. Not because we're Palestinians, but because especially when you talk about online and internet. They think that all our lines are monitored by our enemy, that our occupier has access to all the information we have. So we have difficulty marketing ourselves outside Palestine, or we had difficulty for the longest time, but I think this is changing, and people are learning that there are a lot of innovative products here that can be sold and that are important and are needed outside. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a loud
Please.
voice.
Oh, good, because the mic is
So,
not that great.
yeah, thank you very much, Samia. It's really a pleasure to be here. And thank you, Nida, for organizing all this. And
Team, you're welcome.
I have 3 questions. First of all, if you ever had disappointments, and how did you deal with them?
Mm-hmm.
And you came back for the Palestinian people and to be here. How did Palestine give back to you, especially the Palestinian authorities, if anything? And what is your dream for your company? That's it. Thanks again.
Disappointments and how I dealt with them. Of course there are disappointments, but I always raise this, let's say, slogan. I don't look for problems. Problems come by themselves. There's always lots of problems, and this is an advice. Don't look for problems. Look for solutions. And so whenever I see a problem, I instantly turn to the solution. Okay, there's a problem here. And I think disappointments, I can't think of something specific, but they're lessons for me. Personally, I don't have a role model. I have a lot of mentors. Huda is one of my mentors, very proudly. I have a lot of mentors around me. But I don't have a role model. The only role model I have is Samia tomorrow. I want to be better tomorrow. What can I do to be better tomorrow? And a lot of times people ask me, do you have a role model? I said, really, I don't. I never really had a role model. I think I was too busy playing in the neighborhood when I was young, that I never really had it. And when I was older, I was too busy working or raising a family. And that's another hobby that I have. I'm very family-oriented, by the way. And that's another value from the family, that the family is very important to me. And disappointments, many times. I was disappointed when I first came here from the way women are treated. I treat people equally, and I expected to be treated equally, whether I was going to be treated equally to men, or whether I was going to be treated equally to someone less fortunate than me, or someone with a higher education than me, or even someone prettier, but I was really disappointed by how people are judged, and I think the only way I overcame this is that I will never judge anyone. I cannot change everyone, but I can change myself. I never ever judge anyone from what they're doing. I would never judge a well. I think I'm a well user forever and ever. I never judge. If I see that there's something not as expected, even from a person, even from a friend, I try to understand their point of view. I try to put myself in their shoes. I try to ask them. So that's a disappointment in everything, that there's lots of judging here. Another big disappointment is how unfair competition is in Palestine. I love competition. I see competition as an opportunity and not a threat in my SWOT analysis. Competition is never a threat to me. Whenever there's a competitor, that means I have to be better. I have to work harder. I have to maintain my customer and give him something better than what the competition is bringing to the people. to the table. But Palestinian competition is just like social competition. Let's talk about them. Let's get all the bad stuff. Let's say something. Let's get a rumor out. And that's what happens. That goes back to why we need better marketing, to actually position ourselves and brand ourselves where we really are. Because that's a big disappointment that I found here. Another disappointment, perhaps, is because I worked for a few years in the States, and when I came back, it's like how unprofessional everything here was. And I even remember when we put granite for our kitchen countertops in the kitchen, when we remodeled the house and we put granite, one of them was shorter than the other. And I went and I said, what is this? Remove this whole piece. You look at this. And he goes, no, this is so that, there's no envy. ترد العين. And I said, seriously, this is unprofessional work. It has nothing to do with rain. And that's the way it goes. They have an answer to everything they do wrong. It's like, really? It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. If I want to do something, I want to do it to the fullest and to the best that I can. And that's the way I am even in my daily life, not just in business. If I want to do something, I want to do it the best way I know. The best, and if I don't know enough, I learn. And I put all my energy into it. The second question was about we gave to Palestine, what did it give back to me? No, that was Lebanon. The certificate number, but then that vanished. There's no committee. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Actually, we do a lot of work with the Palestinian National Authority, and we need a lot of money from them. So they really didn't give much back yet. But what I gave to Palestine, I wasn't expecting in return. I was never expecting in return. It's my home country. There's a huge belonging to it, way more than today. Because today I understand that the youth are confused. We have no idea who the enemy is. We have no idea what's going on. We have no idea who's negotiating what. But back when I was raised here, and back when we started Bisan, it was very clear cut. It was very clear to us, what we are working for, which country are we talking about, who are the people we are talking about. Did it give back to me? I don't think so. I don't think that we are there yet. I don't think we have the infrastructure yet to even give back to anybody, not just me, to anybody else. And I don't think we have an ecosystem, whether it's ICT or whether it's a business ecosystem in the city that is healthy enough to give back. So I don't think it did, and I don't expect it. But I will still keep giving. The third question was? Dreams for Bisan. I don't know if they're dreams, they're goals. Yes, we have goals for Bisan from day one. We wanted to be the #1 software house for financial management applications in the region. It wasn't called ERP then. It was simply financial management, which meant accounting plus some management reports to make you take better management decisions. And we feel that we are #1 in the region as well, in terms of local systems, in terms of regional systems. Not talking about international systems, although many times we know deep inside that we are just as good and we can compete on that level, and we do. And there were a lot of contracts and a lot of tenders that would be the competition against us were international solutions. The dream of Bisan is for everyone in Bisan to be happy, because if they're happy, they can produce more. For everyone in Bisan to be innovative. It's not what Samia or Marwan wants. It's what everyone wants. Everyone my dream is to instill this in everyone. Everybody knows what's best for Bisan. Everybody wants what's best, and everybody does what's best for Bisan. The dream is to keep on growing and keep learning and keep working. I don't see myself ever stopping working, so that's probably a dream.
Please.
I just want to thank everybody who made this possible for us. Samia. Samia was raised with my children, and I never knew anything about her. The other side of Samia. So thank you very much, Samia. We are proud to have you. And we hope that to have more like you, women, young women, not like us.
لا لا انت البركه.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Please.
I just want to say, first of all, I'm really glad to hear all of this, Samia. And she says I'm her mentor, but it's like a two-way street. Let's get it straight. I think the one thing she doesn't do, she's very low-key. She's a very successful woman. And besides the marketing, Bisan, now we need to work on your repackaging, right? But really, she's a great mentor for anybody who's in ICT, so use her.
Willing to help.
Really is.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Why the name? It's a very interesting story. And you guys have time. Bisan, and actually it's interesting because I will tell you the aftermath of that. When we first started the company, we said, yeah, we want a name for the company. What should we name it? And I remember that Marwan once told me about. I asked him once. We had been married for 3 years then, and we knew each other for a while. I said, everybody, he's from Ramallah, he's a Ramallahite, originally from Ramallah. Everybody in Ramallah has so many pieces of land all over the place. So I wanted to start a company. Do you have a piece of land? It's like anywhere, so it's just like an honest question. And he goes, no, my grandfather actually in I think it was 46 or 47, sold, sold all our land in Ramallah and bought something like 45, 50 dinars in Bisan of orange orchids. And then after that, 1948 came along and all of them were gone. And that remained a story in mind. I said, Bisan is a nice name. It has a lot of meaning for us, The whole family, and all of, like you said, all the land that your family owned is in Bisan now. So there's a lot of connection there. And so we chose that name. But after that, we became a role model for a lot of IT companies. Safar thought of the name. Jabana thought of the name. and so Bisan was leading.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very, very much. And I hope I can